Alrighty, it is time for some more testing on the amp press. So first things first, just know everything was loaded on my zero press. So all the brass that you're going to see, there's 40 rounds. It was all sized on the amp or on the zero press. It was all expanded on the zero press. I used carbide gauge pins. Everything was measured out. So these 40 pieces of brass, they were all seated with my Primal Rights primer gauge. Everything is as good as I can get it between the four different batches. So let's come over here and look at what I actually have going. So first thing you'll see is I do have, oops, I forgot a bullet. All right. So we've got 40 rounds ready to go. I have a chart next to me over here that you can't see. And these are 10 blow-offs, 10 with no trimming or chamfering, 10 with a very light chamfering and deburring, and then another 10 with a very heavy chamfer and deburr. The 10 that are here in my blow-off pack, these are all over the place. These are some that I loaded. You know, I might have done some testing over here and pulled a bullet 5 or 6 times out of the same piece of brass. Some of them, you know, got expanded differently. Some of them got sized differently. Like, this is a very motley crew of brass that I just had been put. It's all, you know, from the same 100 pieces of brass, but these 10 were sort of just sample cases that I was using for stuff, and I decided to load them up for blow-offs on this particular test. So that's sort of the control group, I guess, if you will. I have my ammo box labeled, so we'll be putting them in here. Now, I'm not doing any kind of sorting. It's simply going to be each 10. And let me tell you what I'm hypothesizing is going to happen here. I think we're going to see 3 distinct graph lines, maybe 4, but I don't know how different. I think any one of these 10 is going to fit into one of these other 3. So I don't think we're going to see 4 distinct lines, but you will see some overlap into these 3 sets from this set. But I suspect these 3 are going to be very different. Not for necessarily the last 2/3 of the seating, but I think the initial seating pressure is going to be very different. And that's just because I've done some very initial testing with it. So we will see what happens here. So let's get this zeroed up. Okay. So let's get 0. We've got a good 0. All right. So here we go. Here go just the simple blow-offs. You can see I have the auto run feature working, which is very nice. Hang on a second. I totally forgot to start recording the screen, so let me get that at least set up here. Okay, so this should be recording now, so sorry about that. All right, so we've got 4 in there. one didn't. Like I said, these are very all over the board, so I'm not expecting any kind of crazy consistency with them. The majority of them did show, but most of them are showing, you know, kind of an initial spike, and yeah, but they're kind of all over the board. You can see here, there's high spike, middle spike, no spike, and then low graph curve. So this is kind of what I was expecting. Now there's a way in here, and I just haven't played with it enough yet, but there is a way that I can go in and set up different groups to, like if I was testing this, I'm still getting used to that part of the software. I just haven't played with it enough and wasn't comfortable doing it for this video. Okay, so here's what we've got, and yeah, it's definitely all over the place. So let me do this. So this would be blow off 0723. Okay. And oops. All right, so clear all plots. So now we are going to do, this is no chamfer, no deburr of any kind. So that there is a very nice looking 45-degree angle. So far these are looking really good. They all have very similar curve to them so far. I know you guys are asking about my tool. I have no fingernails and it's embarrassing, but I have no way of pulling these out without sometimes just grabbing them very lightly with a small tool. So these all have a very, very similar, you know, initial kind of dip in the spike there, or dip in the curve, and then level out. It doesn't look like these are going to let up at all. I think they're all going to stay really close. So there's those 10, and that is going to be, so that's going to be no chamfer 0723. Okay. And then clear all plots. Okay, now we are on to light chamfering. Yeah, so this is just light chamfering. I will say this is probably This is basically what I've been doing. So this is the same chamfering process that I've had for the last, who knows how long. It's a chamfer that I've been very comfortable with. So we'll see. I don't know how it's gonna, ultimately test out. There is a slight delay on the auto feed, so you can't put it back too quickly. It has to do a reset. It's a really good looking graph so far. If I wasn't so fast on this thing. I need to adjust. There's some settings I can adjust. I think I need to tweak it just a little bit. I was playing with them the other day. But I can get it where it'll recognize it a little faster. Wow, those are really good looking curve there. I don't know. One, two, three, four. I definitely need to tweak that setting. Increase the sensitivity just a little bit. It's a learning curve. Alright, last one with light chamfer. So that is really consistent. Really consistent. So I'm happy with that. So this is going to be light chamfer 0723. All right. And all right, last one. Now this is very heavy chamfer, so it's a very substantial cut on the chamfer. So I'm curious to see what this does. It may not even be that different. Who knows? All right, I got to get this timing figured out. When we're done with this, I'll play with the settings. You'd think I'd learn by now. Now this is looking really, really close to the light chamfer. Again, really consistent. hurt today. Not a good day for pain. All right, one more to go here. Well, that's really, really good again. Really happy with how that looks. You know, it's all very consistent through this initial spike, and then it settles down. My guess is this is where it's overcoming the resistance initially entering. It then smooths out, and it's nice and 45 degree there going up. So all the final pressures are really close to each other. I'm really liking this. So let's do this, and extra chamfer 0723. All right. Well, that's it. I'm going to load the truck up. We'll go shoot these. I'll let you guys know how it goes. All right, and here we go. So let's do some of these blow-offs. Working right to left in my box. That is one heck of a big group. Man, let's see, what's that shaping up to already? Almost 3/4 of an inch. And there's a little bit of wind out there, but not a whole lot. So I mean, that kept 1/4 minute elevation across the whole thing. So I don't know, it's not bad. Just a lot wider than I'd like. So, okay, well, let's, all right, so here's what we're gonna do. Now that we got 10 rounds into it and it's warmed up a little bit, we are going to do 5-round groups on these remaining. So here goes 5 of the no chamfer, okay? Let's see. All right, so that is a nice looking group there. So that was no chamfer whatsoever. All right, so that's 15 rounds in. I'm going to do 5 more and then let it cool a little bit. What does that give us? Yeah, so we'll do that. So we're going to do 5 with a light chamfer now. Interesting. I mean, these are the exact same conditions. Alright. So that's 20 rounds. We're going to cool it down a little bit and do another 20. Alright, and here we go. Second half. We are now going to shoot a ton of chamfer. See what happens here. Alright, so there's that. Now we're going to do the same thing. Let's start with no chamfer. Alright. Alright, here we go. Now this one I need to come up. Otherwise I'm going to be off paper here. So, all right, here we go. No chamfer again. Now that one, if this next one doesn't go there, something weird happened on that. I'm not sure what just happened. All right. That one came out a little bit. I think I jerked it just a hair. All right. All right, now we are on to a little bit of chamfer. Man, except for that one. It's all in one hole. Huh. If I measure those, yeah, that's crazy. Look at that. 0.09, 0.11, 0.12. Factor in the fifth shot, so 4 shots, 5 shots. So really consistent. Vertical, group size a little smaller. All right. Now let's go to, this is lots of chamfer. Last shot. Well, crazy good vertical. A lot of horizontal. So there's our 6 groups right there. Very interesting. All right, well, let's pack it up, head back home. And here's the on-paper results, just because I know sometimes it's easier to look at paper versus the shot marker and see what it, I don't know, spatially it just looks a little different. So here's those 10 blow-off shots over here. And then these right here and right here are the unchamfered. These two are the lightly chamfered, and then you have the heavily chamfered. And, it's just without a doubt, these unchamfered ones blew me away. I was not expecting this result. I honestly believed that somewhere in this lightly to heavily chamfered region was going to be the best, but this is just a really wide and still a little bit tall group for me. This one isn't bad and this one isn't bad, but it's about the repeatability, right? And this are both just so much better. Now, I'm going to be taking this test out to 1,000 yards on next Thursday. Well, this coming up Thursday, I guess. Anyway, and I'll be curious to see, does it repeat itself at 1,000 yards? Now, I know everybody's got their own theories and conjecture, and there's people that blast me for testing at 100 yards. But I'm telling you, you can get your results at 100 yards. Cortina does it. Guys I shoot with that are, top 20 national shooters do it. There is nothing wrong with doing testing at 100 yards as long as you are doing some final extrapolation at 1,000. So in any event, there is my test. I think it was pretty interesting to see the results, and we'll keep having some fun with this. Talk to you guys later.